some of those and put them together. Well, two of them, I think, are paintings on silk. This one up here at the top is really old. It's like 13th century. And it's just the bird. It doesn't have Vishnu on riding him, but
That's a Tibetan painting or something?
it could be. Don't remember for sure.
It's an appropriation. It wouldn't be.
It would.
No.
What do you mean it's an appropriation? It wouldn't be...
Well, if it's a Tibetan painting, it's not Hindu.
Oh, right.
It's Buddhist.
Right. And then this more colorful one with Vishnu on the bird is like an 18th century silk painting.
I'm going to bring you a Japanese slide.
Okay.
So tell us about wings. Wings because what? Is the air spirit?
Well, I started with that verse in Isaiah, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And I discovered a whole lot of images which suggested that in many different cultures people have thought about mounting up with wings. That they have put wings on people, they have put wings on animals that don't normally have wings. They've constructed all kinds of interesting creatures from different animal parts. And I thought that showed some kind of longing among all these people to rise up somehow from current circumstances.
Does that imply that all the current circumstances are low down, earthbound somehow to you? That things that are earthbound are to be thrown down on? They're bad?
No, not that they are bad. Certainly not that all earthbound circumstances are bad. And all these creatures are earthly creatures. They, in some origin, they just happen to be maybe a few meters above the ground instead of right down here on the ground. I don't know what significance they hold for all the people. There's a really interesting photograph here, actually a pair of Native American photographs. One was titled Coming for the Bride, and it shows these guys in a canoe with a giant winged figure at the front of the canoe with its wings outspread.
Northwest Coast? Or
I think it must be.
yeah, the totem there.
I'm not really sure whether that's a person or just a giant thing that they constructed.
So you thought it was leading the canoe? That it was transportation into another dimension?
It didn't see. Actually, because of the title, and I don't know anything more about the photograph than the title, but because of the title that said "Coming for the Bride," it actually seemed a very earthbound thing. That it was not, some mythical or mystical thing, but that the bird was at the very front of the canoe that seemed to be bringing the groom and his groomsmen. I'm sure it seems unlikely, or I'm obviously putting my own marriage traditions into that story there, but some guys were coming across the lake to get a bride with him. But,
it may have been related to their clan.
But it may have been totemic for their clan.
It was part of it.
Right. But I was just I was fascinated with all the many different ways that people put wings on things that didn't normally have wings.
Tell us about Switzerland and Greece.
Well, the stamps are all airmail stamps, and so they have a certain mundane quality to them, but the images actually do have different, somewhat different meanings. The Canadian stamp here depicts Daedalus from Greek mythology, who made the wings for his son, himself and his son Icarus. So that's an actual mythical representation there.
Of the limitations of life.
Yes. Well...
limitation of use of wings.
Yeah, material
limitations of humans' concept of wings.
Yeah.
Limitation of wax.
In my software company, people, if they remember the tale at all, they only remember Icarus, and so we're always having to say, Daedalus was the dad. He was the smart one. He was the one who made the wings and said, don't fly too high, don't fly too low.
The one who knew better.
That's right. And as such is sort of an image of the middle way, that, not too much, not too little.
Like Dad's always.
Like Dad's always. The Greek image here is a female representation of Greece. She is Hellas. And so they've appropriated that for the stamp.
Is there a story or elements as a personification?
I think it's a modern personification of the nation Greece.
Yeah, I think it's
highest debt ratio in the world.
And these stamps have different sizes. Did you
Their debt took flight.
Oh yes, I scanned all these stamps in and printed them out in different sizes. Initially, just sort of thinking that I would pick one. But part of what I was doing was trying to cover up the seams where these big bird pictures overlapped. I don't think you were here when I was explaining that these became the foundation for my... this completely transformed everything that I had thought about when you brought this in. I said, oh, well, this is what I need. And I found a way to put these birds in the corners, and everything that I did after putting the birds in the corners just seemed like a desecration of the birds. These were just gorgeous when I had them going off and flying off in their 4 different directions. But as with everything else, I just forged ahead. I said, I have to find a way to complete this. This has been driving me crazy for weeks. I've spent many, many hours working on this. And with each problem that has arisen, I just said, that's the way it's going to be, and we'll go forward and incorporate that. So the multiple size stamp images ended up being scene coverers as much as anything. I also had initially thought that they would be a sort of cross, a sort of Maltese cross.
I was wondering if it's a 4 size.
But my seams ended up in the wrong place because when I glued the birds down, I didn't overlap them the way that I had planned to, and so I said, that's fine, we'll just move things over a little bit and everything will be a little bit skewed. But that's what,
So tell us stories about other things and the relationship between things.
let's see.